Welkom bij Drop or Dram, de whisky podcast, de bonusaflevering. Hij zal geheel in het Engels zijn, maar dat maakt voor jullie allemaal niet uit. Schenk je favoriete glas van de Rye Law, de King Lassie of een andere whisky in en luister gezellig met ons mee. Ja, zoals jullie hebben kunnen horen in de reguliere uitzending ben ik op bezoek geweest bij de Inchdairnie distillery in Fife. Net aan de andere kant van Edinburgh. Nog net de Lowlands, al zou je dat bijna niet zeggen. Een zeer innovatieve distillery. En ik had de kans om met Martin Webster, de distillery manager, even te gaan zitten en door te nemen wat deze distillery nou zo bijzonder maakt. Buiten het gebruik van rye, dus rogge in Schotland. Officieel een grain whisky, maar natuurlijk ook hun King Lassie die ze maken, een peated whisky en nog veel meer. Dus het interview is geheel in het Engels, maar ik zeg vliegend vlug naar Schotland en luister gezellig met ons mee. Finally, sitting down in a nice office with on the background the distills as they are producing very hard, 24/7, 365 days a year, guys, or just one day off, or
Christmas Day off.
Christmas Day off. Yes, I'm sitting here with Martin in the back. We got Rebecca, and we've got the distillery manager, and well, can we call you Rebecca? Can we call you master distiller as well? Yeah, you are. Come on. Yeah, you can do the same thing. And so, no. Sorry. The guy said no. No, but we're at Inchdairnie Distillery, and Inchdairnie Distillery, for some people, not very well known. Maybe one or two have seen the name across, and if they know it from the Rye Law that is available right now in all the stores, which is a special in its own right, as a grain whiskey officially here in Scotland, but it is a rye whiskey. Sitting down here with Martin, can you take me a little bit more about the Rye Law?
Rye Law's, although it's classified in Scotland as a single grain, it's actually 53% malted rye, 47% malted barley. Classified as a single grain by the SWA, and traditionally, rye is very hard to process because of the equipment that we've got here. That we're able to process it via our hammer mill, which pulverizes the rye, and we end up with almost a fine flour as opposed to your traditional grist, where a roller mill will roll the grain. We pulverize it, so what it allows us to do is extract more of the flavour out of the grain that we're putting in there via our mash filter.
Yeah, we're talking Inchdairnie, and that is very flavour driven from the beginning. When Ian Palmer came up with all the ideas for the distillery, 2015. When they started around here, completely new distillery, and you even expanded from 2 stills to 4 stills just now, with most distilleries having a roller mill, and with the flavor you say rye and other varieties, and we're here in the middle of Fife, so well the grain shed more or less of Scotland, just north of Edinburgh on the other side of the water. Beautiful area. Very driven on farmland. So all your barley is also local, I guess?
Yes, they are. We pride ourselves on being the word and all it would be Fife grown, Fife distilled, Fife matured. We want to work with our local community. We want to, wherever possible, work with local contractors. The fact that our rye whiskey is, our rye grain is grown just down the road at the Balgony estate. Last year I was actually there when it was getting planted. or sorry, 2 years ago. Keep forgetting it's just January. But yeah, we want to work with the local community. We believe that Fife as a region could have that classification for whisky.
Yeah, because officially it's a lowland now, but we're as far as the lowlands we can get, more or less.
Yeah, well, the history of Fife is such that it would add to have a Fife region would add to the history that is in Fife. We think would enhance the category, if you like, and why shouldn't it be? If other regions can have their classification, why can we not?
And we can see now the Inchdairnie distillery with their own bottling, the rye law. And in the near future, we're talking 2025 January when I'm sitting here. There's a few great things coming up, and we're looking. Whiskey making is making history for the future, and you're already taking big steps towards the future. And I had the privilege to taste some of the samples that come out in 2027, 2029, and further along. But there is more than the rye law. There is a big plan on the whiskey.
Well, as it stands just now, we released our Vintage 1 Rilo in 2023. This year, in the probably second quarter of this year, we will release our King Lassie Raw and our King Lassie Double Matured. And later on this year, probably the second half of the year, we'll release Vintage 2 Rilo as well. So we've went from one product in the market to 4, and then 2 years after that there'll be more, and 2 years after that. So whole range of exciting products and flavours. You mentioned about being flavour driven. We are obviously efficiency matters, but not to the detriment of flavour. We would rather get the flavour than the efficiency, because that's what we're all about. That's why we have the equipment that we use.
Yeah, because I would walk down the distillery. We had a tour in the still house and see all the equipment, which was quite special. And as well as you're right, everything done here is, if you come here, it is a beautiful traditional distillery. In the first place, if you look at it, the copper stills. But if you go inside, then you see all the special things. You make peated whiskey, you make unpeated whiskeys, you make the rye whiskey, and you have a very, very special still even for that.
Yeah, the Lomond still again is uniquely designed to allow us to only get the very lightest flavours of the spirit. Because of the design of it, it's kind of a hybrid between a pot still and a column still, with bubble caps. So the bubble caps, as the condensate rises, it's only the very lightest flavours that get through the plates, and that's what gives the Rilo its own unique flavour as well.
Yeah, and your Lomond Hill still is specially designed here. It's the very, very unique one. Like you say, it is a hybrid still, but if I think as a nerd, a hybrid still is a copper pot still, and you got your more or less simple copper column still next to it. But this actually is a pot still within the neck. There's the copper plates and the bubble system, isn't it?
Yes, that's correct. And that was designed by our chairman, our founder, Ian Palmer. And a lot of what we do at Inchdairnie, even in terms of the Rilo bottle, with our packaging, it's very engineering focused, because Ian was an engineer, and the way that we distill, we almost equate it to distilled, what's the word I'm looking for? Engineered.
No, you engineered it, but it's perfectly fine. You engineered it. It's all about the flavor. It's all about how you work the stills. Um, I when we look at the bottle, there's quite significant features on the Rylaw bottle, where we can see the top. Well, it starts off with the cap already, and then and the DNA in there, and then you go down and you see a part of the hammer mill, and then the 3 M's. So that's what I guess when I learned it right: materials, methods, and maturation, which makes it very, very special indeed, because the 3 methods you use is special with the stills, and also getting geeky now, your own yeast strains.
Yes, that's the beauty of our equipment. We can use unlike a traditional malt distillery where the mash tun, the lower tun is the same mash bill every time. We can change whatever we want. We can use different grains, we can use different yeasts, and we can change the flavour. That's why we make 4 seasons of Inchdairnie, for example. We can change the flavour by changing the yeast and the grain, and that's what makes it special.
That's something that you made special as well. You have 4 seasons in more 4 seasons in one day most of the time, but also 4 seasons. But you use those 4 seasons to make your whiskey.
Yes, and also we're quite happy to use spring barley. We're quite happy to use winter barley. Again, because of the equipment we have, that enables us to do that. There are not a lot of distillers that will use winter barley because of the problems and the yield that you would get from it. Whereas again, it's a bit flavour for us, and it's a bit being innovative. I like to think that although our logo, when I first joined the company, actually it's a pipette, it's a dropper, but I like to look at it and think it's actually like an exclamation mark. It's like making you sit up and take notice. Oh, what are they doing there? I think the logo for me does that. That's not a marketing thing. That's purely me. That when I look at the Inchdairnie logo, and I think, yeah, that kind of sums up what we do here, although we don't really talk about it. To me, it looks innovative.
It's very innovative. It is very classical on whiskey making style. On the other hand, it is completely came from scratch with an idea by Ian Palmer. Working in the industry for so long and seen everything, done everything, and I thought, well, the approach can be different, like what we see here, a traditional distillery, and like you said, making different kind of profiles. I think you make 9 types of spirits here.
Yes, yeah, we do. We do 9 different characters in a year. The best part for the geeks, if you like, is that we do what we call Prinlaws 1 week in a year, where we allow our managing director to be a geek, Scott Snedden, and to come up with wacky ideas. Why don't we try this? For example, rye came from that very process. In the past, we've done oats, which is still to come, is maturing now. We've done sour mash. I know what we're doing this year, and I'll not spoil it, but again, it'll be something that's a bit different again, and that's for 1 week in the year. Let's try it. It might not work, but at the same time, it might turn out like rye did. Rye started off on our little pilot still, and a very low scale, and now it's it's ingrained, and as I say, it was our first product that we're all very proud of.
So we have to watch out for everything that comes from Inchdairnie. We see some Inchdairnie spirits on other labels, because you also distill a lot of the spirits here not making gin. You totally go for, we make a whiskey distillery, so we make whiskey. So we see some peated and non-peated Inchdairnies on other labels, but it's a completely different spirit than you only do for your own label, of course.
Yeah, so we are Strathhenry malt, which we trade, and it's commercially available to other distillers, which in itself is a fabulous spirit, but the Inchdairnie is even more special. One of the big things as well, in terms of, you talk about tradition, and we are very much, we look after the tradition, the distilling tradition, but with a real cutting edge in technology. For example, last year we, in order to make us more sustainable, we installed a hydrogen ready boiler that we'll look to bring online when we can. It's getting the green hydrogen's the real issue, but again, looking forward to what's coming in the future, which we've always done. I think since Ian designed and built the distillery, it's always been looking at the past and what's been done, i.e. rye. I think he checked back in a census, and rye was getting distilled in like 1909 or something like that. He checked back in the census, but at the same time looking forward, looking at the kind of technology that we have in the distillery, and you know, a marriage of both, which I think has worked extremely well, and it shows that in the spirits that we've got maturing. What I would say is we are fortunate in that we get to see these samples as they mature year on year. The public are in for an absolute treat when our cool portfolio.
I was lucky enough to taste already the King Lassie and the things that are work in progress here, the peated ones, the unpeated ones, Amontillado. Even you can buy your own private cask, and we went into the cask club, which you got some beautiful things. And like I said, it's traditional, very flavor driven, and people have to taste that for themselves, of course, but look out for Inchdairnie, look out for rye laws, because there is something special about that. Beautiful new distillery, old traditional styles combined with a beautiful control room where everything's computerized. Maybe for the geeks, they go into a 150-year-old distillery, go like, I don't see a master distiller switching on the switch, but still, it's so important. But Martin, can I thank you so much for having us here at the distillery and explaining a little bit more about what people can expect from you guys. So thank you very much for joining me.
No problem. No problem. Thanks for coming.
Ja, dat was leuk om bij Inchdairnie op bezoek te mogen met de prachtige nieuwe distillerij bij Glenrothes gelegen. Dus niet verwant met de Glenrothes brand als whisky. Inchdairnie, ja, daar gaan we nog veel van horen, van peated whiskies tot non-peated whiskies, rye whiskies. Ja, mocht je daar ooit langs zijn, ze hebben geen visitorcenter, maar druk even op de bel. Of als je ooit in de gelegenheid bent en je kan een vat kopen, dan hebben ze echt een fantastische ontvangstruimte waar je vaten liggen met een prachtige Chesterfield, glazen wand waar je kijkt, en dan kan je samples uit je eigen vat trekken in een prachtige ondergrondse kelder daar zo. Ja, ik hoop dat jullie genoten hebben van deze bonusaflevering en tot de volgende. Dag.
Dit was Drop or Dram. Vergeet niet om je te abonneren op onze podcast of kijk op onze website www.dropordram.nl. Tot de volgende keer.